video to do with releasing judgments about others. Just something that I happened to be thinking about because I was having a conversation earlier on about, we were talking about prison labor, and it made me think about prisoners and, how it would be so hard to 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 not judge people knowing that they've been put into prison for, some very serious crimes. So, how would you get past your judgments when it comes to, people that have committed some very serious, unforgivable, let's say, crimes? And it kind of, thinking about that, it took me back to the days when I was training to be a counselor, and I had this desire at the time to want to offer therapy to people in prisons, because I felt quite strongly about them you know, being helped in some way to be rehabilitated and, to be able to function as normal people again in society, and not to be continually punished for something that they've done, a mistake that they've made. Because I have great faith in people, their ability to change and transform their lives, and to be able to make better decisions. And I believe that, they ought to be empowered to do that. And I remember at the time being in class, and our teacher was challenging us to think about situations where we might find it hard to counsel someone knowing that they have done something, something really bad, um, something that is considered unacceptable in society, something that is so unforgivable that it would just be difficult to forgive them for that thing. And, a lot of people coming up with similar things like, yeah, people who have killed someone, people who have raped someone, or, child related crimes and things like that, they would find it really difficult to work with them. And, we were advised that, that would be something that, would stop us from having it would kind of affect the therapist and the client relationship, basically, to be able to, empathize with that person, because it's so important in therapy to build a relationship with your client and to be able to have a non-judgmental perspective of them. And we were told to kind of, to be able to look past the person and what they've done. Yeah, so I know it's something that probably everyone struggles with. Um, Ram Dass actually says that judgment judgment comes in part out of your own fear. And if you are judging somebody, he says it's because you are uncomfortable in your own being. Judging others creates separation, it divides us. And as long as we keep judging someone, then we keep perpetuating their suffering and our own. And so he says that, instead of judging someone, to basically say to them, thank you for your teaching, and to basically continue working on yourself. So if you are someone who is now at that stage of their personal development and spiritual growth, where you're working on integrating your shadow, healing your inner child, then, you will be maybe ready to use the technique that I'm going to talk us through, which is just a quick technique for when it comes to releasing your judgments about others. Because I do think it's an integral part of shadow work to do that. because everything that we have decided that is ugly, that we don't want to look at, and we just say to ourselves, oh, that's bad, it's disgusting, it's vile, I don't want to look at it, and you just push it away. You that is all stuff that needs to be reintegrated, because we pushing away, by pushing away all this stuff, all we end up doing is is creating a big ugly monster that one day we're going to have to confront. Yeah, and we're going to have to integrate. So right, I'm going to talk through this technique now, and I don't actually know where I got this from, because I came across it many years ago. I don't know if it was something I found online or in a book, so I have no idea where this technique has come from. So unfortunately can't provide a source for it, but I'm going to go through it as best as I can remember. I have used this technique myself, and I've found that it really works for me, so maybe it'll work for you. So I'm just going to call it the telescope technique, because it's like this. So if you had a telescope and you was looking at looking through the window of somebody who lives in a building, a building with a block of flats, let's say, living opposite your building, and so you look at that person through a telescope. In the window, you see, when you are completely zoomed in, you will just see the person, right? Now, when you zoom out a little bit, you'll get a slightly bigger picture. You'll see the surroundings that the person is in the room. So when you zoom out a little bit more, you'll see the window itself. And you zoom out a little bit more, you realize that there are other windows and other apartments with other people living in them. Zoom out a little bit more and you'll see the whole building. You zoom out a little bit more, you'll see the location of the building. So you get what I'm saying here, is that basically the more you zoom out, the bigger the picture you get, and so you get a more wider and a more higher perspective. So the idea of this technique is that you will get a more like a higher self perspective on the situation, rather than just having such a narrow perspective of somebody. So you look at the person and what they've done, or what it is about them that is keeping you in that place of judging them. And you just ask yourself some questions like, what is it about this person that I really don't know yet? What is it that I am still yet to understand about this person that is keeping me in this place of judging them? Because in actual fact, I think we know very little about other people. We actually don't know ourselves that well, let alone other people. And not just, I mean, at the physical level of knowing that person about their physical life experience here on earth, but also at the soul level. We know very little about their path here. We know very little about their soul's journey and what lessons they may have come in to learn, what lessons they may have even set themselves to learn, what they haven't still integrated within themselves. We know very, very little about somebody else, okay? So you have to kind of accept that first, that you don't really know this person. So hence you ask yourself, what is it about this person that I still don't know? What do I not understand about them still that is making me want to judge them? And and then consider the person's personal life struggles and challenges that they might have had to face as an adult. What trauma they may have had, what negative life experiences they may have had, because I don't believe that people just go out and do bad things. I think that any kind of unacceptable or bad behavior is, a lot of it is based on a person's own life experience or some kind of trauma that they've had. It often, it stems from a place of fear. That action, if it's not a loving action, then it's coming from a place of fear, which is the opposite of love. And it's coming from pain. That person is in a lot of pain. So it's about understanding that and asking yourself those questions about that person. What do I not know about this person? What challenges could they have been faced with in life? What do I not know about their personal struggles, and their trauma? Then what you do is you zoom out of that perspective. So you come out a little bit and you now look at them from a slightly zoomed out perspective of looking at them as a child, because the adult was once a child. So when you look at them from a child, what do you see? Could it be that they've had a lot of childhood trauma? What kind of things have they been exposed to? What kind of conditioning have they had? Are they a victim of parenting that wasn't, abusive parenting perhaps? Or, what kind of people were they around? And, what kind of things have they been learning and been taught? So it's about looking at them as a child, as, an innocent child who doesn't know a lot about the world and is still learning a lot. And we don't know what that child has been subject to, So then you would zoom out a little bit more, and now you see them as a baby, because everybody was once a baby. So a baby's energy, it's pure and it's innocent. Everybody comes into this world with a blank canvas. Babies aren't capable of doing bad things, Babies are completely innocent. So look at that person, take them right back to when that person first came out of its mother's womb as an innocent little baby. And then you can zoom further out to the perspective of before they were even a baby, to the soul perspective. Now you're truly looking at them from a higher self perspective. You can see their divine essence. You can see their purity. You can see their innocence, that divine spark that is there within everybody, that is there before they incarnate onto earth, into the physical. Someone who is a part of spirit, is a part of the all, come from the same source that we all came from the Godhead, part of the universe, of all, of the all, of everything and nothing at the same time. So when you can go back to have that perspective of that, it is just its spirit in its most purest form. That person is now in its most purest existence. Is it still now difficult? Is it, still now difficult to hold them in that non-judgmental view? So anyway, that's the technique that I've used along with some other ones, but I thought, because that is one that I just kind of remember doing, and I thought it was great. It worked for me. So hope that helps. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what you think, if you've tried that technique already and how it worked for you. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.